seeing that the love is real, that the shoe might fit. She might just be my everything and beyond space and time in the afterlife. Will she have my kids? Will she be my wife? She might just be my everything and beyond.
Happy Friday. Welcome back to another episode of Morning Coffee with your host, Rick Alexander. In all of these shows, we just talk about life, and usually I try to pose the right question that you can ask yourself so that you can forge your own answers. At no point do I even care, actually, if you believe what I believe. I don't think that's the point of all of this. I just became so uniquely aware of how incredible it can be to have a thought sort of planted in your mind in the morning and then to sort of think about it all day. And, you know, sometimes the quality of the thought is better and it kind of gets your mind reeling in the best way. And then sometimes it's like it just sort of lays dormant. But you never can tell like what these ideas and what these thoughts are going to evolve to. And, you know, I believe more than anything that nobody has the better answers for your life than you do. You just might need to start asking yourself the right questions to get there. And today is actually going to be no different. I'm going to start with a question, which is, why do we feel like something as sublime as life needs to be validated ever, at all? Like, if you really sit back and think about the idea that life is a thing, that there's spontaneous awareness in all of the space that surrounds us, like the fact that we kind of feel like we need to validate that with anything, whether it's likes on Instagram, whether it's listens on your podcast, whether it's somebody telling you words of affirmation, whether it's somebody giving you gifts, whatever it is, it's interesting that we feel the need to validate this thing. Because to me, if you like really take a step back and think about life, it's just something that should be celebrated and enjoyed. We just rarely have time to celebrate it with all of our clinging and our rejecting and we're like trying to control all of the things that happen in our lives. And it's like, you know, to some degree, neuroticism will get you somewhere, right? Like neuroticism isn't always such a bad trait. Typically people with neuroticism, for example, tend to live longer. And I think that's probably because they go get their shit checked out when something goes wrong. But if I'm being honest, if you just think about all of the events that happen in your life, they're all pretty incredible for one reason or another. They're teaching you something. They're allowing you to experience something. They're allowing you to enjoy something. But as humans, we have this like default method that always seems like we want to try to grab and control whatever that thing is. So as an example, you can think back to your last relationship. A lot of times in life, we tend to think that if a relationship ended, that it was a failed relationship or it was a failure. But chances are that the reality is that you got all kinds of things from it, right? I talked about how in an episode last week, how you got to look back at your past relationships with gratitude because they gave you something. And the truth is they gave you a lot of things. Like the truth is you learned lessons. The truth is you weren't miserable the entire time. There were times that were actually incredible. But to control the narrative as humans, what we do is we say, well, if it were successful, it wouldn't have ended. But everything ends. It's the ephemeral nature of this life, and it is what makes everything so incredible in the first place. We just, again, don't have the ability to acknowledge how incredible the opportunity is when we're clinging to and rejecting and trying to control every single thing that passes in and out of our awareness. I was joking with a friend the other day, and I was like, honestly, I think that I have like Beatles level neuroticism. Like I just let that shit be no matter what. Like always let it be. Because the end state is like you just can't control it. And I know I talk about that a lot on here, but I'm more talking about like you thinking that something has to continue to go on in order to justify its existence. I think we have to step away from this idea that an experience in life can only be successful if it reaches or meets certain objective metrics. Because that's total bullshit. Because if you think about what life is, it's so crazy to think that it would need any kind of validation. Truly, like just allow yourself to be in all of the experiences that you have without trying to control them or say whether they're good or bad or adding some sort of judgment to them. Like life doesn't have to be that way. You can just be okay. Like you can just assess, you can go through things that hurt you, you can learn from them, and then you can move on and you can have a better life. And I know it's not that easy as I'm making it seem, but it's definitely not as hard as everybody else makes it seem either. Like we, for whatever reason, aren't taught to allow things to kind of roll off of us and just let them go. But at the end of the day, This life doesn't need justification. It is absolutely incredible. To just be part of its unfolding is truly a really incredible experience. And I think if you forget about the validation, forget about what you need, and you just choose to be grateful for the fact that life, and like meditate on what life is. Like if you really meditate on it deep enough, almost impossible to be anything but insanely grateful for the opportunity that you have. And what you realize when you become grateful for that opportunity is the opportunity is so rare that it does not need justification. Your life is incredible. It does not need validation. It does not need justification. It does not need objective metrics in order to say that it was successful. Whatever you choose to do with it, it's a cherry on top. You got here. You beat staggering odds. The relationships we have, the places we go, none of those need to be eternal in order to be beautiful. In fact, many of these things are beautiful because they're ephemeral. If you knew they lasted forever, you'd probably be over it pretty quickly. If you think about your favorite movie in the world, if that bitch went on even twice as long as it did, you'd probably be done with it within the next hour. Things aren't worse because they end. Things just end because they end. And in fact, I think the middle becomes more beautiful because of the ephemeral nature of everything else. So I would really encourage you to give yourself a break, to stop trying to control everything around you. Stop trying to control the things that come into your awareness, and stop trying to judge every single thing that you ever do in this life of whether was that successful or not. It's a lot of things. In fact, it's so many things that you don't know all of the things that it is, right? It's like your failed relationship might have been a failed relationship in the sense of you didn't get married. You also might have learned something so important that you're not a complete dick to the person that you actually do marry. There is no failure versus success to the broader sense, because the success is that you're here and that you get to be a part of the most incredible experience of all time. You just have to learn to be grateful for it so that you can actually embrace what it actually is. You don't need the validation. You don't need the likes. You're good just how you are. Hope you have a great weekend. I love you guys. We'll talk on Monday on Morning Coffee.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. For though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the night is cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me. Shine unto tomorrow, let it be. I wake up to the sound of music. Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be.